an engineer, and
I'm gonna
and
record this.
he's
Yeah,
yeah, no, that's fine. You have to ask my permission first, but
I
that's
know,
okay.
I know it. For
It's
education.
yeah, you're fine. So he just said being an engineer allowed me to one, walking to a room with instant credibility, and it really allowed me to do anything that I wanted to do in life. And I thought that was a weird answer because I figured it was just like, well, I wanted to design roads and bridges. But I thought that was really cool. And I didn't know what I wanted to be in the engineering field, so engineering five seemed like a great opportunity to learn more about it. um and and I know you want me to share more about my memory from that class, but I really don't remember a ton of that class because I was so I guess mesmerized by the first guest speaker that came in and was a mechanical engineer, and a rather shabby looking dude, and he came in and he was like, yeah, mechanical engineer, make 100 something grand, which was like $1 billion back then, and I worked 4 days a week and I spend the other 3 days on my boat or in my cabin. And I was just like, wow, that sounds amazing. So since after that I was like, well, mechanical engineering it is. I dug a little bit more into it, and really, mechanical engineering, it seemed to have the broadest spectrum of application across the industry. So, I felt like since I didn't have any idea of what I wanted to do, that would be the best path. And then hopefully I would figure it out. I in looking at colleges, that unfortunately I don't have a great answer for that question either, because my uncle went to Cal Poly and I was pretty much set. I got a letter from Brown to go out there and play football and do and follow the engineering path, but didn't want to move across the country. Looking back, definitely explore your options. I should have gone and checked out what an Ivy League school is like, and at least waited, but I didn't, and I applied to two schools only because I had to put two on the application, and it was Cal Poly SLO and Cal Poly Pomona. And I never would have gone to Pomona if I didn't get into SLO. But fortunately, with a family member as an alum, and getting good grades, I was fortunate enough to be selected to go in, and that was it. So down there, and engineering, in college is hard, and in high school, there's a lot of just really easy stuff, bang out your homework in class and do some studying. College, you've got to apply yourself. It's your money, and you're the only one that's going to help yourself because you're paying for it. Nobody cares if you do well or not. You already paid. So you really have to work, and I struggled a bit. Went to a lot of office hours, some with Arlene, and really, had to push myself to get to where I wanted to be. And that is, of course, completing and getting my degree. And that was it for me. I was out. I really didn't have any interest in continuing more. 5 years was enough, and I felt like, coming out of Cal Poly, you've got a pretty decent reputation in the industry. It's a very well respected school. It continues to be a well respected school. So certainly encourage anybody that has a chance to go there to go. But internships there were really fun. I was fortunate enough to get pretty close with a physics professor there. His name was Dr. Zamet, and he put me into a an internship with Kent State University in their Liquid Crystal Institute program. It was a really cool experience. I did 6 weeks in the Kent State actual program, and then another 6 weeks with a company called Alpha Micron, which was a private spin-off from some of the folks that went through that program. But essentially it was, mechanical engineering application. They had me do a number of different tasks, a lot with, playing with liquid crystals, developing cells. And then the Jewelry Institute, or jewelry part of that college, came in, and we did kind of a collaboration where I got to design a piece of jewelry worn by their runway models, where the different electrical contacts would light up different colored LC liquid crystal cells or little liquid crystal displays. And so as they walked, the cells would turn on and off, and it was actually pretty cool. So internships in college are, random. Like that really didn't have much to do with mechanical engineering, but it was an opportunity, and I took it. I did another co-op with a company down in Los Angeles called FlowServe. They did mechanical seals in oil refineries. So totally, obviously different industry application, and it was just, interesting to get there. I thought I was gonna be, spending a lot of time in oil refineries and whatnot, and then turned out as I got there, some of the executives of the company just wanted somebody to go through and kind of do a data scrub of all the existing contacts in their CRM and make sure everything is up to date. And if they did that, they got their bonuses. So paying out for a co-op was a good ROI, and I
Wait,
ended up
Ryan,
hating.
what's the
uh,
difference between a co-op and an internship?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think co-op is more like it's a job, you get paid, you're part of the company, and an internship is like, you get to work for free, and you get to write you got a letter of recommendation from us, and you write your stuff on your resume. If
And how
there's a
did you
more
get your co-op? Like, did you go to the career fair or like walk us through how you applied and interviewed and got the co-op?
Yeah, so it was an interview process for sure. You went to the career fair. I can't remember if it was they actually had a job fair or if it was just a bunch of postings, but definitely through the college, and either one, job fair or through the career fair. It's um it's it's a process. You go through an interview process. I highly recommend it, even if you don't want to do any co-ops. Go through and get comfortable interviewing, because it's such a big part of being hired. There was a lot of people at Cal Poly that were, superior to me in everything academically, president of ASME, and all kinds of accolades that I beat out for some of the jobs that I was interviewing for because they didn't interview well, and it's just because they weren't comfortable. So get comfortable talking to people, get comfortable answering questions, get comfortable being challenged in a pressure situation, because when it comes down to the job that you really want, that's probably going to happen. You're probably going to have competition. It's probably going to be a high sought after job, and you want to make sure you perform well in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just like I said, the internship co-op, get yourself out there in the private sector. It's invaluable for future experience. Companies that look at a resume and see that you've done school activities, they'll have question marks about can you perform in a professional situation.
We have a question here. What helped you the most throughout college?
Throughout college? Well, I will say, number one, having a really good group of friends that were committed to being successful. And I use that word lightly. Success can mean a lot of different things in college, but obviously the ultimate goal is making sure that at the end you get that piece of paper that you can hand to somebody that they'll say, okay, well, you're smart because you did this. But getting with friends or study groups or whomever that you can be together with, because it's really hard to do everything on your own. There was a lot of, I mentioned office hours before, or study in the library, or what are offsite groups that you got together with. Rely on people. Like, some people are going to be better at different classes or subjects than you are, and you're going to be better than them. And it's like, that the collaboration, number one, it helps you get through college so much easier, and two, it's it's how things are done in the professional world. The people that work the best, that go the furthest in their career, are people that worked well in teams. So I'd say that really helped me the most. But honestly, that and not getting discouraged. I failed tests. I messed up homework. I messed up labs. Like, there was a lot of failure in college, and and you know what, there's a lot of failure in life, and that's something that you have to push through and keep trying. And yeah, I got straight A's in high school. I didn't get straight A's in college, not even close. So, you know, it's about continuing to try, seeking help when you're struggling with something, whether that be with school or personally or whatever. Go ask for help. There's tons of avenues for you to seek assistance. And I use those a lot, just to try to get over that edge, because midterms and finals are hard, and studying for them, making sure you're not cramming, even though you will. You procrastinate on something, you'll get to the end and oh, now I got to do it, and I'm going to spend all night doing it. Like, you're going to go through those, and it's hard, and that's, I wouldn't recommend it, but you're going to do it anyway and find out. So just, I would say, get with the people that are good, or that are with you, and that are go through that studying and that process with you, and helping with you and helping you learn. Seek help where you're struggling with things, and just try to get through, because that end goal, it feels so good when you're finally done. And if you want to continue on and do more, then great, go for it. For me, I was done, and I was so happy that I went through it all, and then I had good groups of people with me, family, friends, professors, aides, whatever it was, to help me get through.
Yeah. Cool. That's awesome.
Let's see. Hard time balancing internships and schoolwork. No, because I made sure to not mix both of those. But if you have a part-time job, I'm still paying off my college loan, but I took out a lot of college loan just so that I didn't have to work during that time, because the people that had to, they really struggled. And if you have to, then I would say, don't be ashamed, and don't let anybody talk you into, you got to do this in 4 years. I did it in 5. I know people that did it in 6. And the reason that I was able to, enjoy college is because I wasn't taking 18, 21 credits a quarter. I was in like the 12s to 14. And I made sure that, one of my classes for one credit was a bowling class, or something to just break up the monotony of the week. So yeah, that's how I managed to balance. I didn't overburden myself, because I wanted to do the standard 4-year experience. And if you can do that, by all means do it, knock it out, and more power to you. But you'll that first year, you'll really get an idea of how the workload is going to impact your life. And I would say, don't overburden yourself, because if you don't enjoy college, you're really missing out on the experience.
Mhm.
Let's see what else we got up there. Help me the yep. Better with masters over bachelors. Yeah, for my profession, no, masters wouldn't have mattered. If you want to, I think, in like really, I guess I should talk about my profession first before I answer that question. So let's pivot to that. So my career, my 4th and 5th year of mechanical engineering, I started to get exposure to what real mechanical engineers, not like me, did getting out of college. I interviewed for Raytheon. I interviewed with Northrop, and I walked by folks, sitting in cubicles, and what felt like dark corners of ominous office building. And that really wasn't for me. I'm a bit more extroverted, and it didn't seem like that's what I wanted to do, is to go crunch numbers and designs. I think in that aspect, like a master's, either in business or in the engineering field that you choose, you probably get into that, and then you accelerate into more of a leadership role, engineering manager, or you kind of get out of that faster. But for me, and I didn't know about this position at all, but one of my colleagues said that she had interviewed for what's called a technical sales position. And right off the bat, that sounded great to me because it sounded like I could, be a little smart in engineering, but also, sell and talk to people and engage in, kind of big problem solving environments, and then hopefully deliver a package that somebody else wanted to buy, and then make some money doing that. So I asked more about what that position entailed, and that's really what it was. Have an engineering background. There's a lot of different names for it. Field sales engineer was actually my first position that I got hired for, but the technical sales position is a big position out there. And if you don't want to be a cubicle engineer, it's a great option. And so that's what I did. I interviewed for a position that was technical sales. I had no idea what the company did. Probably not a great idea. I, I would recommend doing some research with the company that you're interviewing with before you decide to take the job. But 6 weeks after I took the job, I finally understood what I was doing. And so I'm in the material handling world, which is essentially supply chain automation, distribution, and fulfillment. So if you buy something from Amazon, that product will get picked out of one of the millions of bins that they have in the warehouse. It'll get put on a conveyor. There'll be software that tells it where to go and who to get packaged by and what type of bag it needs to go in and what type of ship label goes on it and how to get to your door in, under 2 days. And all of the software and automation that goes into that process is what I quote unquote design. I have a lot of people smarter than me designing lots of really hard stuff, but the overall concept and requirements gathering is what I'm responsible for. And then in the end, I'm the one delivering the proposal for whatever service we're providing, whether it's consultation or whether it's an actual solution or whether it's different types of services. So anyway, that's the industry that I lucked into, I guess, or fell into, maybe is a better word. But that's what it was. It was a company called Bastion Material Handling, and they were at the Cal Poly Job Fair. And I went down, I talked to them. They said, "Hey, let's go have an interview." So a couple of days, I think it was a day later, I went down to the Career Center, sat in a little room, practiced all of my my interview skills that I've been honing, I would say, over the last year
How
or
did you
so.
learn your interview skills at Cal Poly? Like what resources did you lean on to learn how to interview, how to negotiate, all those, how to present yourself?
Yeah, no, unfortunately, back then I couldn't just like hop on YouTube and say what are the like 10 best interview tips. So there were a lot of people in the career center that could offer you tips and advice, but to be honest, it was very natural for me because the interview process coming out of college is really all about selling yourself. It's how do you solve problems? How do you think about problems? What problems have you struggled with and then solved? And how did you do that? And then yeah, they might ask you like, solve this equation. I had two interviews where that happens. The rest of it was all about talk about challenges and sell yourself and be confident about yourself. So for me, there wasn't a ton of interview advice. I'm sure it was there if I would have sought it, but now there's lots of there's lots of, I think, coaching available online, and I would recommend just go taking a look that, and then also take a look at resume building. That's a art. It's definitely a science, but very much an art. And there's a lot of really good tips out there. Don't the worst thing you can do is get your resume in, and then it gets passed over because it looks like everybody else's or whatever. And I know I say that by saying go look at how to do it, and probably everybody's going to go look at how to do it. Use some creativity with it, but just don't make some of the bad mistakes that they'll catch out there. And I don't want to say any because my resume is probably 20 years old and it hasn't changed in that long, and it's probably looks pretty terrible compared to people's out there right now. So so don't use that. But
And I'll just add, Engineering 10, which I teach in this every spring, we do a deep, deep dive with resumes. So everyone on the call, don't worry. Cabrillo has an incredible program. Joanne has been very intentional designing the engineering courses here. And so we do a lot of that training in Engineering 10. So, yeah.
Yep. All right, what else we got up here? Favorite part of Cal Poly. Yeah, favorite part of Cal Poly. Definitely yeah, let's say. So Cal Poly was fun because number one, middle of the state, right? So you get a lot of blend of California. I mean, yeah, some folks from outside, but I have a ton of friends that I still hang out with to this day from Cal Poly. So the people there were definitely the most fun for me. I would say as far as like different departments go, I had a lot of fun in all the other departments that weren't engineering. Engineering was so hard that really I didn't have any fun in that. It was mostly just mind-numbingly frustrating when I couldn't get whatever class that I was in, except for fluids. Fluids was pretty easy for me for whatever reason. But I would say like physics was really fun. Zamet, I got really close with Zamet, who was what was he, electrical? Can't remember what Zamet was. Anyway, the but like he had a couple of physics classes. The other pieces of Cal Poly really fun. I had a lot of business and in economics. But yeah, engineering, still tough. So make sure you want to do it. And then the first 2 years, you'll probably know if you don't want to do it anymore, because the first 2 years are kind of meant to make sure that you're really, really sure about being a mechanical engineer. I did join some clubs. I was in ASME, American Society of Mechanical Engineers. Was in I think the board, I guess it was what it's called there. I served as treasurer for a little bit. That was fun. I mean, it was kind of a 2 week meet and hang out for a bit and talk about things. I wouldn't say it was that great. Most of the clubs that I joined were probably just drinking clubs at bars afterwards. I probably shouldn't say that. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, no, I join clubs, like investigate clubs. I think there's a lot of good ones out there that I probably didn't take advantage of. Certainly, like some of the robotic stuff that they're doing is really awesome. The aerospace, they have competitions every year that we do well in, and we have to make sure that we continue dominating Cal Poly Pomona. But yeah, like if there's things that you're interested in, there's probably a club for it there. So please go investigate. Let's see, going into 4 year and going into debt or oh yeah, great question. I 100% think it is fine to go to a junior college for 2 years and transfer to a 4 year school. Nobody cares. Nobody cares if you go to a junior college. All they care about is where did you get your degree from in the end. So 100% go to a junior college, and that's what I was gonna do. If I didn't get into Cal Poly, I would have gone to Cabrillo, and then I would have been down there, for my junior, senior, and super senior year. Let's see, interview questions that I had to. Oh yeah, so honestly, the one that I was really stumped with was a subject that I knew, and I just panicked and blew it during the interview. I should have known it, and as soon as I walked out of the interview, I was like, "Oh, you idiot!" And I definitely didn't get that job. But yeah, no, I would say you're not going to go in there where they try to puzzle you with something that you're not going to know. It's just how you do under pressure. And sorry, last question there, Sam. There's what kind of clubs should I join? Join the ones that you're interested in. And I don't know you that well, so I can't tell you which ones to join. But like I said, if there are if there are if you have an interest in literally anything, there's probably a club for it at the college that you're in. So search for it. Engineering education for any activities or projects in my personal life. I would say the projects in my personal life that I've used engineering for, certainly like a lot of CAD and drafting. A random story. I drafted my entire wedding in CAD and made sure everything would fit. That was a pretty easy project, but some of the stuff that I've built around the house, cabinet shelves, I mean, that's definitely engineering background, but no, I would say most of my mechanical engineering, I haven't touched. I haven't drawn a free body diagram in a long time, and I hope I never have to. But if I did, have to go figure out if F really does equal MA, then yeah, I probably could go draw something. But no, I don't. And unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, that was my choice getting out of my field of engineering and just hoping that that piece of paper that I took over to Bastion Material Handling, they said, yeah, you're smart. You could go figure this stuff out and then you could go sell it. And that's what I did. All right, great questions. Thank you for that. So I talked a little bit about my industry. What do I love about what I do today? That is a fun one. So yeah, I do love that I don't have to do mechanical engineering because I really wasn't that good at it. So it's good that I'm not asked to do that today and succeed at it to get a paycheck. But I will say that what I really do love is kind of the same thing that I did in college, whether it was in labs working in groups to solve a problem, or all of a group of my friends studying for some midterm or final. I work with a team that we all have an objective. Right now I'm at G3 Apparel, and they have a distribution center that's pretty archaic in how they do fulfillment. And there's some smart people that have asked us to come in and help them solve this problem. And I'm at dinner with two of them. They're good people, and it's the same type of thing. Like, we are working together to solve a problem, and hopefully we come up with something pretty good, so that we can all do things a lot better. And when you go buy something from a Calvin Klein or a Tommy, or if you don't shop for those clothes, then fine. But these are the brands that come through this building, and folks that purchase them, hopefully they like what we're doing over here, and we'll continue to solve problems.
Can you talk,
Oh,
Brian,
sorry.
can you talk about from getting your first job out of college, how and when did you decide to get another job and walk us through some of those decisions? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say, when you get a job out of college, um, you're probably going to feel some loyalty to the job. It's your first job out of college, and I did. I worked for my first job for about 8 years. Um, it was a really good place to work. I really enjoyed the people. I think I did myself a disservice by not exploring other opportunities and just seeing what was out there. Not even if you want to take the job, but just you're only worth in the professional society what you agree to be paid. And if you don't go explore what the market is paying for your professional services, then you'll never know what's out there. And I hate to be really blunt about it, but you are worth exactly what you agree to be paid. And I think I sat in that position too long. And in the end, when I left, the president of the company called me and said, "Man, why didn't you come talk to me?" And I didn't really have a good answer for him. I was like, "Man, I was 27, Bill. I excuse me, I had no idea that I could just go to the president and say, hey, I don't think this makes sense, and I don't think I can stay here anymore." I just didn't think I had that much power, but I did. And it's because I didn't explore those opportunities and come to him and say, hey, here's my situation in life. um I like working here, but here's what I need to be successful with my life and my family. Can we help, or can you help, or is there something that we can do differently? I didn't have that conversation. I just came over and said, hey, I quit. Sorry, thanks for the last 5 years. So um I would say that, go out and obviously, work hard at your job and succeed at your job. But if you get called by a recruiter or a headhunter that says, hey, I've got another company that thinks, that your background looks really good for, have that conversation and say, like, hey, yeah, no, actually, I like what I heard, but I'm happy at my current company. But if my needs change, I'll definitely reach out. Make sure that you do that because you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't see what's out there. But I would say when the time came and I wanted to leave, it was because my pay structure was 100% commission, and and I was getting married and I was having a kid, and that was fun when I was single and living in Manhattan Beach, and I had three roommates. But when I moved and moved into a condo and had my first daughter on the way, I was like, man, those wild swings of 100% commission are a bit scary now. And I could eat rice for a week, but I don't think I want my wife and baby to do that. So that was it. I wanted to go to a more stable pay structure, and that's when I ended up leaving. And then since then, I left that company and I went into an environment where the company that I worked for was a close knit, small to medium sized business. It was like $100 million business, and I went into a $1 billion+ corporation, and it was a total shock. And I really didn't like it. It felt like I was a number there. Other people did well. It wasn't for me at the time. I left and I went to another one because somebody that I knew worked there and they said it was different. I went to another $1 billion company that was not different. It was the same. So I left that one pretty quickly. And I didn't want to be the guy that like bounced from job to job and, looked like I was just some, material handling mercenary trying to find, the best next check. But that's really what it turned out to be for a few years until I landed at a company that was much like the first company that I started with, where small company, close knit, really bright group of people, and I really thrived at that company. And I think that's where I learned and developed the most in my professional career. And and unfortunately, that company made some bad decisions with money because they were a small company and didn't elect to sell out to a big corporation and have a financial backing to take on some risk with projects. So they are no longer a company. But I went to another $1 billion company, and this one feels a little bit different. And we'll see. I'm still new in the company. I've been here for less than a year. We'll see how it goes. But I feel like I'm in a much better position in my career to be at this type of company and be successful than I was in the past. So, like, I don't know, long story short, things change, your needs will change. Make sure that you're constantly talking to the folks that are out there, understanding your value in the marketplace. And don't be loyal to a company. They they they're gonna be hopefully good for you, but in the end, you got to do what's best for you and best for your family. So that's my advice there.
Yeah, there's a couple more questions if you want to look at the chat. Two just popped,
Sure.
two really good ones, or maybe three.
Um,
I don't know if
yeah.
Christopher. Yeah.
Yeah, Christopher, thanks. That's a good question. That's hard. I I got accepted into poly. I knew I was gonna go into debt paying for it. To me, back then, it was worth it. I think, my I say I'm still paying off my loan, but it's not it's not a ton. I it was when I graduated. It's been 20 years since, but it was never like a monthly payment that was gonna crush me. So there, I think there's things that you have to take into consideration there. Know how much you're gonna have to borrow to get through college, and then make a choice. I will say, regardless of if you elect to go to a community college or go to a 4-year degree, the job that you get, if you are successful in getting your degree, you will pay it off. So I wouldn't really let that worry about you. But man, I mean, if you're telling me, hey, make a choice, that you didn't answer my question, you just waffled, I would say, man, just go for the 4 year. Like if you got accepted to a 4 year, go. Don't risk it. Like take, in 2 years things could change, and I don't know. Like take the opportunity to go to the 4 year, go into debt because when you get out, you're gonna be fine. But if you're not going to make it through, then don't. I don't know. I guess I just went back to waffling, but that's my advice there. Sorry, I can't be more helpful, but I think it's a really good experience. It's really good to like get away from your parents and live in a dorm and take on the responsibility of like having to do your own things. Like, yeah, I gotta, I got I don't have chores anymore. I gotta keep myself alive. I've got responsibility. I gotta do those. Like it teaches you kind of right away, like, hey, your life is your life now. So take it and do great with it. I got my first job while I was still in college. So I would definitely don't put it off in your last couple of quarters, or semester. Start interviewing. The interview process, sometimes it can take weeks. You don't want to wait till the end, especially when you've got your finals and like all of that taking place. Get the job and say, yeah, man, like I'm not finished. I'll be finished here and then I can start there. And by the way, I don't want to start right after I finish. I want to go on a vacation and have some fun and then I'll come back and work. Like you're in control at that point. They want to hire you. If they give you the job, set your requirements and go. So that's my advice there. What would you say are the pros and cons of working in a smaller company opposed to a big one? Big ones, and this might be my last one as I see I got 3 more minutes here, but I would say big ones, you kind of get the benefit of better benefits. And that, really isn't that important probably now, and it really wasn't important for me then, but it might be important for some of you now that have kids. Like having really good benefits is a big deal, and big corporations can afford better benefits. So I would say that, but like the hard thing about bigger companies is it's sometimes harder to navigate how to do your job in like internally in a big company than it is to actually just do your job. Like finding out who the right person to talk to ask about your benefits or ask about like where something is so that you can do your job, understanding like the subject matter experts within the company that you should be relying on to answer technical questions or do things for your job. That's hard to learn in a big company because it's so big and you don't get to meet everybody, and people are probably going to be working remote, and there's a headquarters that might not be near you, and it's like that part's hard. In a small company, you fly out to headquarters, there's a bunch of people there, you probably get to know everybody in the first week, and now you know who to talk to. So I'd say that's a big one for me, is learning how to navigate the big companies is certainly a challenge. Let's see what we got here. Once hired at a job, how can one gravitate towards people who actually want to help you and be better? Yeah, so I think one of the things that's really nice about college is you start to build kind of a sense for who wants to be helpful. And you can probably sense that. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be people probably in the company that you work for that might not be that interested in helping you. But I think, going to college and learning how to work as a team, and, learning like, hey, that one guy that was on my team that was, I was in a lab and we got assigned 4 people and he didn't do shit. Like that guy sucks. And I don't, like I could tell, don't work with that guy, right? Like there'll be that person in your professional career where you're like, yeah, that guy's not going to help me and I'm not going to seek help from him. So yeah, good luck with that. It's definitely a skill that you probably never stop developing, because you then have to apply it to folks that you might not work with in your company, that you engage with outside of it, and you have to determine like, hey man, is this person really looking out for me, or do I have to keep my guard up? So all right, I think that's
Amazing.
it.
I know, any last minute things you want to say to aspiring and curious engineering students?
Yeah, no, I would say you guys you all are doing great things. Work on the vernacular because I'm still really bad at it. But yeah, I just the curiosity, like inquiry, curiosity, ask questions. You're already in a great spot to learn more about it, and just never stop having the passion to be curious. I think throughout my entire career, when I was curious about something and I asked dumb questions or I asked good questions, the amount that you learn by just applying yourself and getting out there and being curious, it's you advance so much further in whatever you're trying to do. And it took me a while to learn that. So you're already in the right spot. You're trying to find out what engineering is and what fields can I get into and how does that align with my interests. Like step one, great. Now, continue to apply that. And as you start to get closer to what you're actually going to be at that time, then hey, keep asking questions. But no, I really appreciate the opportunity to chat with you all, and best of luck.
Yeah, and if they want to reach you, Ryan, or they have any questions,
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. Reach out if yeah, if you Arlene, if you want to just share my LinkedIn profile, it's open. Just message me any questions. I'm happy to help.
got it. I will do that. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you for taking
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, no problem. Bye bye.
Ryan. All right, bye. Oh my God, thank you, thank you, thank you. Are there any questions or any comments, reflections for anybody who'd want to share a reflection from what Ryan shared or want to follow up with anything he said?
I'll say something.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's really great that he pointed out that
Sorry.
we should know our worth.
Uh-huh.
That is, can you hear me? Are we
Yeah, yeah,
good?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Neil, you got. Mhm.
Yeah, I think when he said like know your worth when you're going into a job is huge. I'm in, I'm 35 and I've had quite a few jobs in my life, and like
Mhm.
I think that's like some of the best advice that anybody can give is like knowing that you're worth more than a lot of the times what these companies will offer you. So I think
Right,
that's great.
right.
I also found that it was very interesting that he was selling something as opposed to designing something.
Mhm.
I didn't know that that was an avenue.
Yeah. Yeah, so like sales engineering, technical sales, those are some taglines that will signal that type of role. Yep. Good point.
Something that I found interesting was that being an engineer doesn't always mean you have to be sitting in your cubicle, not talking to anyone. You can actually be extroverted and work within sales, which is a very extroverted job.
Totally. Agreed. Are there any other reflections? Anyone want to riff on anything Ryan said or something that stood out to anyone? Got it. I will add that when I graduated from Cal Poly, I one of my first jobs was at a biomedical device company, and it was a big billion-dollar company, and I was in the clean room doing a lot of testing of devices. And I thought, oh, and I'll get to you, Franny. I thought, wow, is this what engineering is? But I made a pivot to sales engineering. And what I discovered in sales engineering is the company I went to had a 6-month sales engineering training program. So I would fly to all of the factories that were manufacturing the equipment that I was going to sell. And so I learned hands on testing of the equipment and how it was commissioned. And then I learned how to write a proposal because a business proposal is a little bit different than a lab report. And I learned how to estimate financials. And this 6-month training is, I didn't know that that was even offered, but some companies will offer a roadmap for you. So you're not just jumping in and you have to sell a product and you have to meet with all these different people. They will guide you for 6 months, teach you, train you, help you and assign you mentors to help you understand what it is you're selling. How do you sell? What if you get rejected? What if someone, you know, doesn't want to buy your product? How do you position? So that was another avenue I found really encouraging. Go ahead, Franny. Oops, Franny, you're still on mute. Oops, can you hear me, Franny? You're still on mute. Okay, we're gonna go to Justin and then Franny when you're back. Yeah, so go ahead, Justin.
Okay. I thought it was interesting that he said that he took out loans so he didn't have to work.
Mhm.
I work,
Mhm.
and I'm pretty sure that I don't know, maybe the housing cost was different back then,
Mhm.
but there's no way that happens these days. As far as I know,
Yeah.
unless there's like money that I'm not aware
You're
of.
not tapping into, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe he already had somewhere to live, and that maybe the cost of living wasn't calculated into that. But I didn't get a chance to ask him. But yeah, it was interesting. I was weighing my options.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
would like to complete. I would also, because I know I'm going to be here for a while.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, but that's okay.
Yeah, totally. All right, Enrique.
Hi. So what Justin was just talking about,
Mhm.
um, so like cost of living versus like financial aid to support, like that also was not possible in like the 80s. Like my mom had to work two jobs to get through USC and she had financial aid.
Mhm.
So it's or
Mhm.
like student loans or whatever. So it's just like ebbs and flows. Like I have to wonder if there's like a pattern to that, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's a good question.
Anyway,
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a valid point, totally.
thank you.
Yeah. Franny?
Yeah, sorry, I cut out for a second. My internet freaked out. But I just been thinking earlier about I liked what you said about getting comfortable being challenged and not getting discouraged when like, you know, school's going to be really, really challenging and really competitive, really high pressure, and same thing with jobs. And yeah, I've been working for a while and jobs are always pretty discouraging to me in the beginning, or at least like just challenging, and they make me wonder if I'm like, oh, am I just not cut out for this? Am I like just not very good at this? But it just sort of takes time and a little bit of believing in yourself and just kind of, I don't know. Yeah, but I just like that little note that he added about that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I second that too. Around this comfortable with being uncomfortable. Especially in your first job, you're probably not gonna know, like just because you were taught these fundamentals, you might be asked to apply them in different ways, and then you're working with different personalities and you're working with multinational teams. Your teams might be all over the world, and giving yourself some grace and that you'll figure it out. You guys are really smart. Engineering, the rigor that goes into an engineering degree, you're wired to figure things out. So give yourself that patience. Yep. Thanks, Franny. Cool. Well, with that, we'll take a little break. I just want to recap for everyone what we're going to do next is our hands-on prosthetic hand project, and it will be an individual project. But the first part we do is going to be a design phase. And so that will be done in a group before you actually build. So when we come back, have all your props ready, all of your material ready. I'll break you out into rooms. I'll walk you through what the design phase is going to look like and what type of questions we're going to run through. And then after the breakout rooms are complete, we're going to come back as a room. And then I'll give you time to build your prosthetic hand individually. And then we're going to share that as a group together. So just, And then by the end, the last probably 45 minutes is going to be a little bit of lecture around biomedical engineering and mechanical engineering. And that'll just be showing some engineering slides. And then we'll wrap up with, I'm going to talk about the interview and engineering project that's due at the end of the semester. And then I'll also recap on the homework that's due next week. So I'll give you guys a 15-minute break and we will be back here at 5:10. And I'll hang on if anybody has any questions or wants to chat about anything for a little bit. About 5:10.
I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to go into civil engineering, but like hearing all this talk about the mechanical side and etc. It just I like it, and it's a big aspect of construction, which is what I want to pretty much use my civil engineering degree in.
Yeah.
Is it a thing to get like a minors in mechanical, or like somehow still have without having a full pursuit of getting a bachelor's?
Right. That's a really good question. And I think somebody else had asked me this too. So when I say major disciplines like aeronautical, civil, electrical, you don't have concentrations like within the major disciplines. So you don't do mechanical with a concentration in civil, and you can't do electrical with a concentration in mechanical. However, it depends on what you're interested in as a foundation. So if what interests you, and I'm just throwing out examples, if what interests you about civil, let's just say, is the building of the bridge, the design and the building of the bridge, like you're fascinated with bridges, or if what interests you about civil is roadway and infrastructure development, how are cities built, how are they designed, how are roads, how are water systems designed and built, like if then I would recommend you choose civil as your foundational. But if you're interested in construction, and it would be more, my question would be, what is it that you're interested in construction? Because you could do mechanical, electrical, civil, you can do a variety of majors, so because when you build a building, you have foundations, right? You've got structural, you have to design the integrity of the building. But with a building, if you like construction, you also have to design the power systems, the electrical systems, like any renewable energy systems, like that has to be, any telecommunication, like Wi-Fi access, like all of that. That's what I mean when I say telecommunication, all the internet access that's coming to the buildings. So that is an electrical. Mechanicals in the construction world design the heating systems, the air conditioning systems, any of the software that manages and communicates fire alarm, heating, cooling, that moves the mechanical shades, that's more mechanical systems. So there's a variety. I think it would depend on what part you're interested in, to decide which foundational piece you enjoy more.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm. Oh, Justin, we will see. This will be part of the activity.
I actually have a question for you.
Mhm.
So, like, in your mind, like, what kind of would be the path for example, if a recently graduated mechanical engineer wanted to start making things, or like kind of like going into one's own business based off the skills, like granted some back experience, what do you think?
When you say go into a business and make things, can you elaborate? Like, what do you mean, or what's top
Yeah.
of?
Okay, yeah, I'll get specific. So I'm a maker. Like I like to build things, and I have a workshop where I restore classic cars. and like some other things. And I'm wanting to do something in the direction of mechanical engineering, and I want to be able to take things to the next level on my ability to create, utilizing the skills gained by engineering. And I also want to make work of that if that's possible. That may be something that happens along the line when I have a career and I work on it. But what in your mind would it take for a person to do that out of graduate?
Yeah, and when you're saying kind of take things to the next level, is your passion automotive? Like you want to, like when you say next level, are you wanting to innovate around the automotive? Did you say restoration? Or
It
is that
is,
something else?
but I just like the idea of creating. Like there is definitely automotive there, but that's not the only interest,
Got it. Got it. Um, and when you say innovate, like when do you mean you like to be aware of new technology? Like when you say innovate, tell me a little bit more. When you want to say next level, do you want to be at the forefront of technology and advancements in technology?
I'd like to find applications that are related to it, like ways that mechatronics can be used in automotive and already are. Is like definitely something that interests me, and also how it can be retrofitted, because I believe strongly in like using older cars because they, reduce the demand for new products. And so I'd like to find ways to be able to modernize things using new ideas in mechatronics, and I don't know, just creative like touches on my end as well.
Right, right. So a couple of things are coming to mind. And when you say creative, do you like more of the making with your hands, or do you like more of the designing with software, or both? Yeah.
More so, well, my experience is more so working with my hands, but like I need to learn CAD anyway because I'd like to get into 3D printing ultimately because that can serve a purpose in my work.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, no, I know that. So I think my recommendation to you, if you like mechanical and you like how things move, right, and you like
Mhm.
that
And
concept,
like the blending of machinery.
yeah. So there, and I think you mentioned this too. There are robotics and mechatronics concentrations underneath the mechanical discipline, and any school, any four-year university will have courses in the 3D modeling, like 3D printing and 3D modeling. And they will also, and so I think that would be probably one of your best bets is to move to do a mechatronics or a robotics concentration. If you enjoy this mechatronics really brings together like electrical foundational things with mechanical. If you enjoy that piece. The other idea I also have that's coming to mind is if you also enjoy or you have an idea or a vision of like having your own business, or it could be a side business. You could also work full time for a company and have your side business on the side, while you're growing and
Mhm.
you could also do a minor in business, or you can take courses in the College of Business to help think about like, okay, how could I really scale all this engineering knowledge that I'm learning into a profitable, sustainable business model?
That's a really good idea.
I've had friends do a minor in business with an engineering as their like main discipline.
Hmm. That's interesting.
And
And
then
that sounds useful.
another thing that's coming to mind is at every university you have what's called a senior project, so or a senior thesis, and that's just a project that kind of brings together everything you've learned and you write a paper and you present it, and so it might be interesting that if you have a passion for car restoration or you have a passion, you could use your senior project and combine your business vision with a new innovative way you've discovered. Let's say mechatronics, right? You've discovered some cool thing. Your senior project could be that as well. So many ideas. Yeah. What do you think? Yeah.
That so that gives me a leg up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Those are great ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I have to think about that.
I gave you another direction. Like engineering is a great foundation, but in the universe, like you can take and choose. Um, you can really tailor, some of your coursework. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Cool.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.